artist. Today I'm going to explain our project for this week, which is a overlapping shape drawing. So here is my finished example. When you look at it, you probably see some shapes that you recognize and maybe some that you don't recognize right away. So I see a circle here, I see a rectangle shape here, I see something that looks like a hair bow shape here. I wonder what that could be. Well, your first task today for this project is to go around your house and find objects that you can trace to create shapes out of. So let me show you some of the things that I found. So I found this coaster that is a hexagon shape. It has 6 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I found a paper plate, which is a circle. I found a lid for a coffee cup, another smaller circle. Here's the hair bow shape that you saw in my drawing. I went outside and I found a rock, and the rock is kind of an oval shape, but we would call this an organic shape because it's not perfectly oval. I found a lid for a candle. But when you're finding objects, you want to find things that are mostly flat on one side so that you can put it on your paper and you're going to be tracing around it. So if it's really bumpy, it might be harder for you to trace. I found a book that I can use for a big rectangle shape. So I want you to find at least 5 objects, more is better, to trace for this project. And when you're looking around your house, make sure you ask permission if you're not sure if you can use an object. So maybe if it's something special of your parents, you want to ask first. We're only going to be using a pencil to trace these objects, so they should be okay, but it's always a good idea to ask. And make sure that you put the things back that you find when you're done. All right, so your job is to go find at least 5 objects you can trace for shapes. Today I'm going to show you how to make an artwork using overlapping shapes. A shape is an area created by a closed line and is an important element of art that we use when creating and looking at art. Shapes can be geometric or organic. Geometric shapes are shapes that you can recognize and name, like a square, a triangle, and a circle. Organic shapes are free-flowing with a curvy nature to them, like a cloud. Organic shapes usually don't have a specific name. So let's get started on our artwork. For your materials, you'll need a paper, a pencil, an eraser, a black marker, and some coloring materials. You will also need to go on a shape hunt around your house. So these are my found shape objects. You're going to need to trace these shapes onto your piece of paper. So like I'm doing with that lid, you're going to need to put it flat on a table surface and be able to trace it. So some of the things that I found were lids, I found a hair bow, I found a plastic container. This is a coaster in the shape of a hexagon. I went outside and I found a rock that would be an organic shape. I'm using a paper plate for a big circle. Make sure that you ask your parents if you can use your found objects to trace in your artwork. You don't want to get any color on them, so you're only going to be tracing them with a pencil. Once you've collected all your shape materials to trace, then you can go ahead and trace them on your paper using a pencil. So when you do this, you need to use both hands. Use your hand that you don't draw or write with to hold the object down while you trace around its edges. And it's really important not to move the object while you're tracing. So you're going to want to hold it in one place. You can also put your objects that are bigger, like this book that I'm using, on the edge of your paper and trace only part of it. Some things that you should be doing with your shapes is repeating them, overlapping them, and cropping them. That means you can use your shape more than once. That would be repeating your shape. You can overlap shapes so that a shape is on top of another shape, and you can crop your shape by putting only part of it on your paper. You will want to keep tracing your shapes until you have filled in most of your paper space with new shapes. So I can see that I've made some new shapes here by overlapping, cropping, and repeating the shapes that I'm tracing. Once you're done tracing your shapes, go ahead and clean up those shapes. You'll want to put them aside so that you don't get any coloring materials on them, and make sure to put them away where you got them when you're done with your art project. Now that we've traced our shapes and we've put away our shapes, our next step is to outline all of the pencil lines with a black marker. When you're doing this, you're going to want to work one shape at a time. So I'm looking for where this hexagon shape is, and notice that I'm turning my paper as I'm outlining. That helps me make a neater outline. One thing that you should not do when you're outlining is a rush. So outline slowly so that your shapes look as neat as they can. I'm speeding up my video a little bit here, so I don't actually outline this fast. So I want you to take your time to make your outlines look the best that they can. Before you add color, you should go through and erase any pencil lines that are peeking through your outlines. Now that we've outlined all of our shapes and we've erased our pencil lines, we're going to start adding color. So I chose to use markers and crayons for this step. You can start anywhere on your paper and with any color that you'd like. When you're coloring, choose one shape at a time to color in. So you're not going to go all over your paper with one color. You're going to choose one shape to work on at a time. And when you're coloring, try to space out the colors so that you don't have two shapes of the same color touching. So notice that these two shapes are spaced out. When we work on spacing out our colors, that is called using contrast in an artwork. And contrast means that the colors make each other stand out so that you don't use similar colors or the same colors next to each other. When you're working on coloring in, one trick to make your artwork look neat is to outline the shape with the color that it will be. So for the blue shape here, I outlined the edges first with the marker and then I filled it in. All right, I'm going to speed up my video here and color in the rest. I hope you have fun today creating your overlapping shapes drawing using shapes that you found around your house. I cannot wait to see what you make.